Don't tell me no.
All right.
Jennifer, you're up.
All righty. Welcome back to East Cleveland Public Library's Watch Club series. This month, in honor of Pride Month, we watched Pose Season 1. There are 3 seasons, 4 seasons? Three seasons. It is available on Netflix, Hulu, FX. It's literally available a lot of places. So definitely tune in if you have not already watched it. And then at the end of our show, we will be discussing a little bit of Juneteenth episode from Atlanta. So pose.
The
What did everybody
category
think?
is
Because I was not
Right.
expecting that. Like literally the first episode, y'all, I was like, why am I
Hey.
just now discovering this masterpiece? I feel like it is
Yes.
a beautiful work
The
of
heist.
art.
The heist is super interesting. I was not expecting that to be the first part. And what's actually really cool is that someone actually tried to fact check it and see if that actually happened. And it's never been said if it did or didn't happen. So it's just like a really cool thing that could have possibly happened just for the ball, for the sake of the ball. So that's pretty cool. A lot of Pose is actually based on live events, like real events that happen. So
Yeah, they
That's
definitely
cool.
turned up that first episode. I was not expecting that, y'all. So, as normal, favorites. 2 favorites. Beginning of the season and even the end of the season, because mine probably did change a little bit slightly. But yeah, who has favorites? Who?
I
Langston?
think my favorite. Sorry, Langston. I just
Go
I
ahead,
didn't know
girl. You
you wanted to
started.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think my favorite is Pray Tell. It's like the minute he opened his mouth, I was like, this is clearly my character. Anyone Billy Porter plays is immediately in my heart. But he was honestly my favorite just because we really got to see him sort of have kind of talk more about himself. You know, he comes out as this bolstering character, very intimidating, and he seems like he's on top of the world. But when you get him down and back into like back to himself, he's very scared, very nervous, very, anxious and stuff like that, and having his own issues. And I can really appreciate that because that's a huge thing that people do is, you think that they're these confident people, but inside they're not. They're, and I think he was very relatable.
Yeah, I agree. I love Pray Tell, so I can see that.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Joined us too.
Yes. All right, Langston, who was your favorites?
Well, child, a little hard to picture because I agree with Kimberly. I love me Pray Tell, but Electra Abundance Evangelista, honey. She down. She got it. She grabbed my heart. At first, I'm like, you are such a
Terrible person.
terrible person. But honey, as it progressed and like Jen said, it's 3 seasons of it. So all y'all out there watching, as the seasons continue to progress, you're gonna see a lot more of her that I just like I said, I'm in love with. You know, I said her and Pray Tell. I can't choose between them two. I mean, of course I would pick Electra, but between them two, they really embodied a lot of the stuff that I feel like some of the stuff that I believe, especially reading somebody when it's time, honey. Down boots.
Honey, she was the queen of the reads.
I'm telling
I
you.
mean,
Definitely, I can agree with that. Electra, I definitely liked. Now she did kind of like. I was like, okay, in the beginning, like, mother, do you gotta be so hard, mother? You ain't gotta be so hard on the kids. You ain't gotta be so hard on the kids. But I mean, she really took the part as a mother. So I respect Electra, what she stood for, what she believed in, everything throughout. I know her approaches sometimes it took me a while to get used to that. But I can agree. Electra and Pray Tell, y'all already know I lived. Honey, he sucked me in that first episode. He was doing the balls. I loved it. So I can agree. Those two definitely were my tops in favorites for Pose. Sarah, did you have a favorite?
probably obvious, but Blanca, she was just I feel like every character really played their part. Like they actually all did a great job from like a standpoint of just looking at them playing their characters. But Blanca was my girl. And Damon, poor Damon. He had me in the beginning. He had my heart. I'm like, oh, why am I crying? What is going on? But yes.
I found him kind of whiny.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just because he was young and he needed Blanca, like he needed somebody. His parents kicked him out. Like
I agree. I think honestly, I have an issue with teenage characters. I think it's me. I'm the awful person. It's okay.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. No,
and the professor really looked out for him, and I hope I haven't seen the second season, but I hope I see more.
I liked her. I
Yeah.
did like her.
The professor, she was a good one for sure.
Aaron, who was your favorite?
You muted.
We can't hear you.
The mother.
Yes. Sure.
Electra.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Electra for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She's honestly a fan favorite. She's the person you hate to love and love to hate.
That's right.
Like,
I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so who was the villain? Who was the real villain?
We starting off with the villain, all right.
Who was the real villain? I mean, the show wanted the antagonist to be.
Well, you already know who I'm gonna say for the real villain. Candy, a little Lulu.
Yes.
Those were the real villains. The houses, yes, for sure. They as a whole were villains. And I want to say like Angel and Electra's side men, whatever. They were villains as well. Like they were like, villains. Like
I was thinking
might not have seemed like that, but Angel's man, I think he was a villain on the low too. Because
I was thinking Mr. Ford, but he told her exactly what he wanted.
But that's also, if you really love somebody, would you really keep them from their dreams? You get what I'm saying? It's a balance between I understand that that's what you want, but you want me in that shell. You get what I'm saying? You want me like that. That's not how I want to be. That's not how I continue to see myself. So I felt like that was unfair. And he was a villain. He just walked out like, oh yeah, no, I'm done with you. Like,
that was bad.
That's it. Like after all the years we've had, like I literally go and have a sex change surgery and you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like this is it. This is not what I want. Like she said, I've been telling you, I've been confiding in you. You know what I'm saying? This is something that everybody knows. Her children knew. Everybody knew Electra wanted to have that. And you know what I'm saying? So why would you keep somebody from really wanting to be their true self because you feel like you're okay with themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like she was unhappy. That man he was a villain.
And I was
he knew what he wanted in a partner. He knew what he wanted.
But he already had a partner.
But I was saying, unfortunately, people, they, like you just said, people be wanting what they want, and
they like what they like.
They don't get it. They are, like I said, sadly that is life. They don't want to hear understanding. They don't want to hear, they don't want to hear none of that. They just, all they hear and see is you change something that I like, therefore, no, I'm done with you. Like you said, and it is sad because, like I said, they did have these years of, so obviously she was thinking it was a little more than just this arrangement that they had set up and stuff like that. But obviously his mind was like, no, you are my getaway from everything else. Yeah. And
those were demons he was battling. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
that's right.
And he brought that into their relationship. Like, no. And I'm glad Electra, the mother came back and snapped her out of it and she went through with it because
she did.
I'm glad she realized that was not being true to herself. And I feel like if she would have not went through with it, then I would have changed my look on Electra because I respected her so much for that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard you will lose people along the way when you know what I'm saying? Lose certain things when you really follow what you believe in and go after what you want. You know what I'm saying? What your heart desires, not thinking about everybody else. So I definitely respect that. But yeah, them two little side men, they was villains. They could have stayed. He was a villain.
I think from a standpoint of characters, I want to say it was Ferocity, who was like the House of Ferocity was like definitely a villain. In general, I feel like Candy and Lulu never had any loyalty to anyone in the first place. As opposed to the whole show, I feel like Society was the villain.
Oh my gosh, she took that is what I was going to say. Yes.
Because their
Yes.
small
Thank you.
victories just never amounted to, you know, it was like, it makes me think about when I would watch Good Times. Something good would happen and then something monumental would send you 10 steps back. And I felt like it was society, it was the 80s, especially as they talk about those terrible things like, well, HIV only affects gay men. And I was like, that's not cool.
Right.
Because it gave them a reason to alienate those people, which is why when Magic, you know, Johnson came out and actually admitted that he had the disease, it changed everybody's outlook. But why did it take a famous straight man to do such a thing? So I think that because I've seen a couple other stuff from the newer seasons and stuff like that, and they had these little victories, and I love it, and it's great, and I'm glad that they have a small place and they have a safe zone. But the type of things that they had to go through, especially that scene with Elektra when she tries to go see Mr. Ford, and the guy talks to her like she's not even a human. He's like, whatever you are, like leave. Yeah. And I think that that's awful. Blanca not being able to be served at a gay bar.
Right.
You know, and they're like, jokes, like it's Halloween, how go dress up somewhere else. And I felt like that was just it just was a different animal that I was not prepared for. So it was interesting to see the 80s painted in the correct light of what it was, because everyone talks about this nostalgic time. They love the 80s. The 80s did this, that, and the other. And then I'm always on the sidelines like the 80s was terrible for gay people. Like the LGBT community, the 80s was awful for them. So
we need to get her out the chat. I'm mad she took my answer and stuff.
Not leaving the meeting.
Yeah, I feel like bouncing off that society thing, like even when the professor told Blanca, she told Damon when he was like, I'm sorry I'm late, I was, preparing for the ball. And she's like, is that your goal in life? Like, you have to go further in life. Like, this is more than the ball. And it's like, for me, that's my community. So, that actually might be the highest in life I go. So that was another thing where society just kind of knocked them down. Like, you have this chance, this opportunity, you need to take it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true. Okay, so we got the villain, got the best of our favorites. So what did you guys think about Blanca standing up to Elektra and leaving and forming her own house? Like that whole startup thing, like how do you feel about that?
I thought it was amazing. I, of course, was mad at Elektra because I'm like, why are you not supporting your child on this? Like, this is what you want them to do, or did you want them to forever be under you? Like, don't mothers want their children to grow up and be like them and, grow more? So I thought it was a beautiful thing for her to do. And as she showed, she knew what she was doing. She had it.
I think it speaks to the controlling sort of part of it, of those of familial relationships, as well as, your parents love you and they send you out in the world, but they still kind of treat you as if they're still your child. Have you ever had your mom call and try to like control something in your house? Like, well, you need to do this. And you're like, you don't run me anymore. It's fine. I'm going to do what I want. So I think that I actually really enjoyed her, like, at least even taking the time to go, I want your blessing. I think that Blanca deciding to leave the house, she did what was best for her because she wanted to be nurtured. And I feel like that also adds to why Candy and Lulu decided to leave under the guise that they weren't being respected. Because while that was happening, it was different. But I was super happy that Blanca took in anybody. She didn't ask any questions. She wanted everyone to do better for themselves. They had to get education. They had to have a job. They had to, bring something to the world, because as a parent, you won't always be there for your child. You won't always be able to have you stand on your 2 feet. So I love that she pushed for that, especially with Damon. When she walked in, it was like, if you could spare 3 minutes, he can show you that he's different. And she ain't even seen Damon dance for real. Like, she don't even know
that's
much
a mother, like you said,
about him.
A real mother. And I feel like the difference between Elektra and Blanca's houses definitely, like you said, showed in that aspect alone. Like, I never heard Elektra be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did the Candy and them do? You know what I'm saying? Besides cook for her and slave for her.
Be
so
bums.
just to see that difference just to see that difference in how Blanca was running her household and stuff like that and taking them in, it definitely was amazing. But I feel you, that scene where she rooted for, I'm like, yeah, you ain't even seen this boy dance, but that's a real mother. You get what I'm saying? That she fought for him and she fought for all of them. You get what I'm saying? Like, mothers are supposed to. So I think that was, Blanca definitely, she, like you said, she knew what she's doing. And then sometimes what you're not getting there, what you need. So she created that house of stuff that she needed with people around her. So I definitely respect Blanca for that, and for the whole getting Damon into school, because if it wasn't for her, literally he would have not did any of that. You know what I'm saying? Just to see somebody literally took this boy off the streets, didn't really know his story like that. You know what I'm saying? And literally helped him become something for sure out of himself and helps him grow. So yeah, I definitely respect. I love that whole house. Y'all know I love that house.
And also piggybacking off something she had said about Electra, is like, that's why I said I like that throughout this. Like I said, if everyone continues to watch the rest of the seasons, you are going to really enjoy her character development, because like how y'all said in the beginning, she's all for herself. And that's why I think, of course she was like, no, you're not leaving my house, because she feels like she has a superior house. She's winning all the trophies. She got the best looking kids. They got all the, the fancy costumes, all this stuff. And she feel like that's something she did. So I think in her way, she like, you want to leave this house? Like, you know what I'm saying? But again, she's not, in a way, she's not really showing that quote unquote, like Jen just said, also that love and real support that like a real mother gives. Her mother love was just like, no, win these trophies and then we're gonna be all good, but then when we get home, I'm gonna treat y'all like stepchildren. It's like, no.
And she was stealing her ideas. Remember Blanca said royalty?
Exactly.
I'm like, I would have been done too, Blanca. That's why I was so glad she did it right then and there. Because I'm like, how? So it's okay for her to tell y'all the sky is blue. When I tell y'all the sky is blue, it's a whole no.
She was like, I keep saying ideas and you don't even take them. Like, she could have just said, yes, royalty, that's a good idea. But instead she was like, that's stupid. Then she was like, I got it, royalty. I was like, wow.
But like I said, y'all will find out eventually. It's something that I just thought was so precious. Okay, I'm not gonna reveal it. Like, I'm gonna let y'all see it.
That's why I didn't watch season 2, because I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to hold it in.
No, I had to stop at season 1 too, because I'm obsessed with it now. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna continue on. But yeah, I had to stop because I was like, I'm gonna be talking about season 3. I literally almost binge watching it one day. Once I started, it was like
Electra did say at the end that Blanca's always been her heart. You do remember that at the end of the season,
that's why
he literally looked at her and said, Blanca, you've always been my heart. And I was like, that really speaks volumes, like, to what she was already saying. Like, I think Electra learned a lesson, especially when they were like, she's like, I need this room painted, I need this, and they all like looked at her and she was
I was so glad they were. I was like, I know she ain't like, no, you're not about to get this room painted.
We got you off the streets. You was on a park bench.
You're not the mother of this household.
Hello.
You might be an auntie or something up in here, baby. You ain't the mother. You just get a little guess right now, okay?
All I'm gonna say is, like I said, for my own personal reasons, I don't care for the last 2 seasons all like that. But like I said, Alexa's gonna do something that I just thought was so heart-touching, heartwarming, I should say. So y'all just gonna see that for yourselves.
Yeah, we don't see it.
Okay, so
how did y'all feel about Angel?
Yes.
I loved Angel. Like, everything about her was great.
The flawless, every time she served it.
Favorite character.
And Stan's wife was like, that's not possible. It's like, that's a compliment. Like,
she was like, you don't look like a man. And she was
at all.
Yes.
She was like, thank you.
Shook up when she saw that, like, yeah, baby, that's what your man, like, that's what your man, that's what's going on here, okay?
I do appreciate Angel going out for herself, especially because I know she gets into another relationship later in a couple other seasons. But I do appreciate Angel fighting for herself and taking the time to, like, take care of herself. Like, Angel specifically, and she admitted what she wanted. And I think that a lot of people are always like, I don't need a man. And she was just like, I just want to be held. I want someone to take care of me and love me for who I am. And I think that it's a lot for her to have to come out and say that. That's a lot. A lot of people, kind of gag on you and laugh at you because you want romance or you want, something a little different. And people are like, oh, you can't be independent. But she was like, I can make it on my own. I just don't want to. And that's fair.
And that's why I'm with Sister Angel, because period says let him take care of you. You just
if he want to, but she didn't want to be kept, and I appreciated that. She was like, I'm not a doll. I want to be able to do whatever I want, but why can't we, vibe for real? I really liked her. Like, and everything she wore at the ball was just Yes.
Every time she slayed, she was just absolutely gorgeous.
And I just felt like what she told Stan at the end, like, you know, just go be with your family, because once reality sets in, this probably isn't even what you want. Like,
Right.
you don't even understand what you're about to put yourself through and your family through.
Right.
We move in together. You talking about the kids can come visit, like, that's not about to work out.
Right, at all. How do y'all feel about the awareness of imposter syndrome that kind of was sprinkled through all of this? Like, what do you guys think about how everyone kind of didn't feel like themselves or just felt like they didn't belong? Even Stan admitted that he didn't feel like he had like belonged at his job. So everyone was kind of just like, he was like, we have to play the game. We have to be these people, even though he wasn't that person. Angel felt like, you know, she had to sort of act a certain way. Same thing with Blanca, especially at her mother's funeral. And when they kept calling her Mateo.
Yeah.
Like, I would have turned, and when I say I'm so glad that Pray Tell convinced her to go and with her, you know what I'm saying? And yet again, that shows you the family structure in her household. You get what I'm saying? I love that about Blanca's household. Like, they really were a family. She made sure, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is all of us together. So I respect that so much. But my family, I would have been cutting up at my mom's funeral because hello.
Yeah,
and that's my thing. Was that her brother that was fighting in the kitchen?
Manny,
okay.
That's her brother.
Because I'm like, I
thought that was her sister husband. I'm like, dude, who are you grabbing on me about a cookbook? Like,
man,
and you don't even cook.
But it was
you don't even cook.
But Manny clearly had some deeper issues too, because when he slammed Blanca up against the thing, he said, "I know how you homosexuals are." I quote, "You like corrupt children." And I was like, wait a minute, you're mixing this up with pedophilia.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Those are completely different things, but it was something, once again, that we forgot.
On my nerves in this day and age.
A lot of people mix those communities up.
I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick. And I need to calm down, because actually that really does upset me.
Actually, no, can you speak on it? Because does that
touching a child to somebody being no, don't do me. Don't do me. I would never put my hands on a child in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, first of all these, and I hate to say it like this, but all these quote unquote heterosexual people that you found out they don't rape their nieces and rape this person and rape this other woman, all that stuff like that. But you want to say gay people are the don't play with me. Don't do that.
It's definitely
an obnoxious. I didn't know that was still like
to mix up. Well, they assume for some odd reason that people who are gay and in the LGBTQ community are also condoning or also with like younger people.
Yeah,
which
don't
is
help when you
weird.
got people out here like famous, quote unquote, people that are like famous, whatever you want to call it, and they're also putting that out there, comparing pedophiles to homosexuals.
I don't even understand how you do that. Like,
I feel like
it might just be me. I don't know.
Well, what they do is they have the idea that the idea of sort of when unfortunate grown men touch little boys, they equate that to, they put it with homosexuality when it's pedophilia. That's what happens. So that's where the like lines get weirdly intertwined. Is
but then what is it when you're touching a 10-year-old child?
It's still pedophilia. Like, it's never pedophilia. So that was a very upsetting part to me, because I felt like it wasn't fair for Manny to put that on Blanca. And all she wanted was the cookbook, and she didn't want anything else. She was like, "You didn't even call me to tell me my mother died." Like, and that's probably the worst feeling ever, that your family not only is dead naming you, but also has decided to just leave you out of that. Like, it would break your heart to find out that your mother died and like, why didn't you come visit? Like, you didn't want me around. And I felt like it was rude of them to put their grief and take it out on her, because they didn't like what was happening. And I think that's the worst part of this whole thing, is society deciding that because they're uncomfortable, these people don't deserve to live their lives. And that's crap. That's literal BS.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The worst part. So we can move on to the balls, a lighter subject.
Those were so fun. Like, I kind of want to go to one.
I'm gonna find one for sure. I like watch all of them on TikTok and stuff, but the balls, honey, between the first couple episodes, between me crying, I was like screaming at the boss because I'm like, yes,
yes, don't let me get up and start tick to the one, tick to the one, tick to the 1, 2, 3, 3.
I love it.
Come on.
Yeah, Pray Tell, literally, he brought that to life. All of that whole experience is just, it's magical. It's magical.
I love how
like,
unbiased
I imagine being, you know what I'm saying, experiencing like Damon came in and he was like, wow. Like, yeah, because he's like, what is this? And you don't think it's nothing. She like, oh yeah, honey, let me show you. Like, they don't play about these balls. But I love
I love the real trophies, how big they are. Like,
I'm like, where do you get all these trophies from? Like,
honey, they said you don't win no money, baby, but you gonna win some trophies, okay? You gonna have some trophies to hang up in your home.
They bring money eventually.
Well, in the 80s, clearly. They started so trophies.
We're talking about
that's all you had was your name, okay?
So Miss Candy walking in and being, as Pray Tell said, category dyslexic.
And I think that was so weird
y'all
too.
Gonna just how
I just think
that's so weird how, like you said, like you have so many other categories to choose from, and you like always want to insert yourself on the ones that you know. I mean, like you know for a fact, like that body one, baby, you knew. You saw the people before you. Pray Tell tried to warn you. You knew.
It was body with a W.
Why you thought them little injections was gonna make you good for this category?
And that was before. So even when she came back with the injections and passed out, like, honey.
And we just gonna go past that. Like
we just gonna. That's okay.
Like you're sick, and then Electra was like, instead of letting somebody just do this to you, and I was sitting there like, so is she gonna be okay now? Because you've heard terrible stories of people getting botched injections all the time. And I think there's something more upsetting about this is because at any point, no one, not even Angel, because Angel went through it too. Like no one pulled Candy aside and cared enough about her to say, you shouldn't do this. It's awful for your body.
I mean, like Angel was like, no, I'm gonna skip out this time.
But then
like,
she did it.
Saying,
then she did it though. Like later, it's like
she went back to the good lady.
Did she? I thought she went to the same
she
one.
Went to the first
lady. She didn't go to the lady. Candy went to.
Okay.
Candy went to the like $100 one and.
Oh, okay.
Angel had Stan. He paid for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Candy had her own money. Angel had her man's money.
Candy's probably actually the real villain.
Oh, hello. We really
yeah, she's a villain in her own mind too. Like she was
literally out of her mind. She was delusional. She was rude. She was nasty. And it's like, that's why you lose all them balls because your attitude.
I thought everybody let them fight at the end. I'm like, you about to fight all the judges.
When she came back with the hammer, I actually literally texted Jen and Langston. I was like, not her walking in the Vogue, not her fighting the judges. Like, I was like, ma'am, like Miss Candy, I need you to have several seats. And Pray Tell really read her too. He was like, I don't know why you constantly put yourself to this torture, but sit down, please. Like
I said, by next season,
we're still not gonna like Candy.
Yes, you are. Because she's going to have character.
She was irredeemable once she made Blanca cry. When she made Blanca cry, she became irredeemable. There was no reason for Candy to come for Blanca.
He developed enough for me.
I mean, that, and I think that was the worst part of it, because while there's a lot of kiki and there's a lot of shade thrown, at the end of the day, everybody kind of just, Blanca still tries to be friends with her. So for her to like touch her chin and be like, oh, the stubble, like, come on now. Like for both of them. I
was like, get through that thing. Like,
and Blanca hasn't done anything to them. That's the worst part about this. Blanca did nothing to them. Electra,
that's misery. They are miserable.
I just say this, and I will try not to be too prolonged. However, one thing that y'all still may be like, but I will say one thing that people tend to forget. Remember, Blanca is firstly light skinned. She's deemed pretty. She's deemed higher than most. Lulu, who actually, maybe it wasn't, I thought it was this season, but maybe it was not, I don't know. But Lulu, who actually says to Candy, you hating on me because I'm light skinned and thick.
Oh, spoiler.
Oh, I
that
think
wasn't. Oh no!
no.
Oh, sorry. Well, that's just the one spoiler.
That's the one spoiler
the
we're gonna
second
drop.
season. But those type of things I think really come into play because she's a quote unquote, she's a dark-skinned woman who feels she has to keep competing and feels like she's under, most of the quote unquote lighter skinned competitors and transgenders and women.
I ain't buying it. I'm not buying that one.
So
I can understand that from a certain standpoint.
Yeah, I see it, but I can see if it was like they broke the categories down. You get what I'm saying? Like when you're in a sisterhood or a family, you get what I'm saying? So for you, her to be competing with Blanca is weird in my mind. You get what I'm saying? You compete with the other houses, but for all that animosity to be with people that you
just
love,
Blanca,
that you're around, this is your team, this is your house, this is your home. That's what I said. That the color that's not really real.
And where was all that bark at when Electra was reading her for filth? Like every time Electra came at her, like where was all that bite? Like you really came for
and
Blanca.
That's what Candy knew who to pick on. Because
Absolutely.
you never had that bite. Like you said, you never had that bark for Electra. And Electra is a brown-skinned woman. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? And Electra holds herself like, you know what I'm saying? So what's your mother is, you know what I'm saying? So the color thing, that's I'm like, no, that ain't working.
Especially because they made a house just to crush, like they didn't even care about like Electra at all. They made their house and they were like, we are going to crush Blanca. We're not going to have no crappy people.
I'm like Blanca is over there minding her business,
leaving
raising
yours
her
alone.
kids, and y'all just keep coming for her. Like,
man,
and for
what?
They was just mad because Blanca had the courage to leave, and they stuck around, be treated. Electra ended up dumping them and leaving them anyways. So you know what I'm saying? Now y'all sitting around looking stupid. So now the only person you can really go against is Blanca because you're not going against Electra. You get what I'm saying? Just like she came back and read them to filth in them few seconds. Like, she's like, I don't have to have a house, baby. Like, I'm welcomed everywhere. But what I'm not going to do is tolerate y'all. And I'm going to let y'all know.
Right.
Everybody else might be scared to tell you. And Blanca's nice. So she's not really into the drama and the read like that. But yeah, like you said, the stubble comment, all that stuff. Like, girl, you're miserable.
Was out of line.
You're upset. And you're still gonna lose these balls, and you still don't have no shape, and it ain't got nothing to do but your attitude. And people don't realize that too. When you have a horrible attitude, that follows you around in a lot of other aspects besides your look. So that's also why people didn't like Candy. That's why I'm like, I don't think it had nothing to do with her being, because she's beautiful. You get what I'm saying? Candy was, all of them are beautiful. None of them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're all gorgeous.
All beautiful. But Candy had a horrible attitude. It's
like Prairie Tale said, kindness doesn't cost you anything. And like, honestly, after he said that, it really stuck with me. I was just like, you're correct. It does not. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice to anyone at all. And if they're nasty back to you, then fine. But there is no reason for you to openly go out and do this. Like, I get that throwing shade might be a part of the culture, as well as reading someone might be a part of the culture. Clearly, it's all in good fun. You know what I mean? Like, especially people in the ball, they know they're going to walk out there. They know that Prairie Tale might rip them apart. Or Prairie Tale might be like, yes, give her flowers. And I think that that's sort of something very interesting, is that even Prairie Tale, who rips people apart every night, is at the same time going, kindness doesn't cost you anything. Showing that, everyone can be genuine. But if you're genuinely nasty, then why should any good come your way?
Exactly. And
let's talk about the Bowies.
Okay.
How did y'all feel about Poppy getting kicked out? We're not parents or anything, but how did y'all feel about that?
I don't even went about, because what's his name? Little Ricky.
Oh my gosh.
Ricky said, I ain't get kicked out for nobody.
He was so thirsty. But like we talked about it earlier on lunch, I feel like he really was maybe traumatized. You get what I'm saying? So maybe he had been in experiences like that where, hey, you get what I'm saying? You covering for somebody else, then yeah, you out too.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? But it's also like,
you only did it because
you only did it for malice reasons, and after a certain amount of time, you know what I'm saying? Even going through trauma, when you're around a different environment, Blanca never made it where, you get what I'm saying? I feel like he would have never.
No one was holding that over his head.
Like that, like, oh, I'm not going to sleep on no bitch for you. Like, what? That's not even about you. Like, this is why I find out if Poppy selling drugs or not. Like,
she never had to know you even knew. You could have just said, I don't know.
And that's
she clearly knew that they were lying. She knew that Damon was lying. She knew that that's why she was going through them like that. That's how your mama is. When your mama know y'all
Right.
all lying,
I'm asking
she
all
go
of y'all,
through
yeah.
all
And
of
it's
y'all.
like you just
So-
said, that was a good point that you just said. Like, because it said he should have known that. I mean, like I said, even though you had your experiences that you had, you should have known that. Okay, no, I think this person
It's different.
You got to
and
give
she's
people the benefit of the
She's not
doubt.
gonna put you out just
Over
because
somebody
somebody
else,
else
yeah.
is doing something, whether you knew or not.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
since you ain't doing it, if you're not doing it, I'm not gonna put you out.
Yeah.
I'm
But she wasn't holding that over
sideways,
anybody's
because you know the
head.
truth, and you know the truth, and you didn't tell me. But hey,
Like at no point did she say, "Tell me if Poppy doing drugs or y'all getting thrown out."
Right.
There was nothing being held over his head. So for Poppy to be like, "You sold me out," him going, "Well, you told Damon that I was a lovely
And
leave him."
it was just
I
ill
was like,
intentions. Like you was waiting for any slight thing for Poppy to do to use that. And that's another thing that rubbed me the wrong way, because I could see if it like that happened, y'all just got in the house, and then Blanca found out the pager. You get what I'm saying? It was time that lapsed. Like Poppy said, I had been nice to you since you've been here. You get what I'm saying? Anything that happened beforehand is beforehand. But we have a different relationship now. So for you to literally be holding that inside, like you told him that I was ahead of that quick. Okay, but you still with him. So what does it really matter? Like
Also,
I didn't
Ricky
like the way that whole
did
thing went down. Like that's
have another person when Damon pulled up. After Damon missed that one date, Ricky did pull up and he had a different lady with him. Midnight or whatever her name was.
Understandably fine, but he didn't hit it. You get what I'm saying? It's a difference. That was things that Damon went to the recital. You get what I'm saying? And skipped out on their date. So yeah, if you missed a date, even with me, I'm gonna be. You might see me with somebody else the next day too. You get what I'm saying? Ricky was embarrassed.
Right.
But they didn't have, you get what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh yeah, I done hit it and now I'm on to the next one. No, it was other stuff that went down.
Yeah.
And that was in the back of Damon's mind on why he did not go. You get what I'm saying? Ultimately, it's because of Poppy said that. So it's like, okay, now, little Ricky, you could have handled that a different way. Because I did not like the way that went down. But I do respect it because Poppy, you still didn't know the rules. So you should have been a little bit better at hiding it. You should have been on your pages.
Yeah, like Poppy, honestly.
It was more to it. Yeah, like you should have known better, for sure.
I like that he didn't really, I like that he was just accepted just to be accepted. Like Poppy wasn't a vulgar, he just needed a home. And I really love that Blanca just, like Pray Tell's like, he needs a house. And Blanca was like, get your stuff, let's go. Like,
said, I'm an open lover, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I love everybody. Yeah, like no, Poppy was.
You can tell he's still a child, especially after what he said to Blanca, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." Like, especially like you could tell that he was just like, "This is just, you got to get it how you live." And I think that that's something that people forget, is that when you're on the street for a certain amount of time, you just have to live a certain way, and that's the way you get used to. I mean, that's and like you said, he's like, I got a 7th grade or 8th grade education. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, so I appreciate that. I think Blanca was way too harsh in the way that she threw him out. I think that she should have been like, you got a week to stop doing this. I think she maybe should have gave him more of a time. I think throwing him right out to the street was not the correct way to handle it.
No, she did right. She did right.
No, she did right.
Your opinion,
but she said those rules coming in. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh yeah, they changed down the lines. Literally, she came in like, you can come in this house, but we're not doing none of that. You're gonna find a job. You're gonna figure it out. If you had an 8th grade education, baby, you tell me that then before you start slinging in drugs.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. So no, she did correctly. She did as most mothers would do. You're not about to be selling no dope up in my house, and you can leave and going about your way right now.
You gotta come back till you stop.
And that's it. That's all. So I don't feel like she was too harsh. I mean, she still has to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
that was
agree.
the whole point of
Everybody
it.
else in the house is like, no,
and that's not fair. And if you would have been lenient with him, then what else you gonna be lenient on? You get what I'm saying? After she found out Ricky and Damon were having sex, she made Pray Tell take them to go get tested. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was cool. She sat down with him and gave. You get what I'm saying? So no, she was rightfully so. She did as a mother would have did, and Poppy had to go. Now I'm glad she welcomed him back with open arms yet again, like a mother would do.
Right.
Now you done learned your mistake. You done went out there. You realized, oh, okay,
this got arrested.
He got caught so quick,
very quick. He had to go there a day.
Yeah, so no, but
he got caught super quick.
Yeah.
Like they did like
I don't know what it is, but
he was on the ground.
Dude,
I'm going to. Okay, I was like, my man is really bad at this job. Like, you need to find you another day job. You can't slang that, sir. I almost was honestly laughing very hard as soon as Poppy got caught. Like he was just like, I can't be in the hood. Then the dude didn't even get the money.
Yeah.
He hit the ground immediately. And I was like,
and you realize that,
wow.
like, you're not really made for these streets, buddy.
Like this ain't for you, baby. I was like,
you
you
follow these one little rule that I set in place. You'll be okay.
I was like, you just need to go on home. I was very, very clear.
And that's why I appreciated the conversation between the professor and Blanca after, you know, he got arrested and stuff. She's like, how do you be hard on your kids without having to, you know, be hard on them? Which a lot of mothers, that's what they go through. It's like, how do you do that?
Because there's a fine line between like discipline and abuse. And I think that I think actually us as a community as well, Black people community is also moving towards getting away from what we remember as abuse and what we remember as discipline, because it's discipline to tell me that I can't leave the house, but it's abuse to take my door and not give me any privacy and not, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things that like, you know, traumatize you.
And I got my door taken away.
If you slam it, that's one thing, but
yeah, taking a whole door off the hinges, that's something extreme.
Like I think it was if you slammed it, my door was gonna get taken. That was the repercussion. But I feel like people,
in my house,
deciding taking all the doors off. But I think at the same time, though, I enjoy. I like that Blanca's doing better for herself, and I like that that's actually the movement of our community currently too. You've seen on social media as well. You know, people saying things that they want to do better because some of those things are abusive tendencies. You know what I mean? Telling your kid to come downstairs and bring you the remote, and your kid was always upstairs. The remote right there. Why you ain't just grab it? Like that's not a tendency that we should keep pushing. Why? what do you gain from being controlling like that?
Yeah, that's true.
So how do you guys feel about so Billy Porter, the actor who does play Prey Tale, did actually come out recently about his HIV, being positive about it. So how do you guys feel about the looming death, I guess is what they felt like it was, of HIV in the series? HIV was its own dang character, if you ask me.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like, my goodness.
I felt like it was like, Blanca showed it. It was very important to get tested, but it's like, what does it do to you? And then the medication they have is killing you before the disease. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like, do I really want to go and get tested? And then I'm just going to die faster.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of makes it seem like going to get tested is only so that you don't pass it to someone else.
Yeah, I think it's the fear of knowing. I mean, watching Prey Tale break down in that scene where he needed that alone time. And like he said to Blanca, he admitted it. He said, this is why I didn't want to do it, because he was living his life free. And I think that sometimes when you get told that you're terminal with HIV, cancer, AIDS, things like that, I think that unfortunately it puts a shackle on you and ties you down because you keep thinking about how you might not see tomorrow. And I think Costas dying and being in the hospital too, and Prey Tale admitting and saying that he had plenty of boyfriends that have, you know, passed from this disease. I think that didn't help either, because HIV isn't what kills you. It's like Costas had pneumonia. It's strep throat. And I think that was something interesting, is that people choosing not to know their status because they're just that terrified.
Actually,
and that really says a lot.
What she just said is a lot truer than she knows, because
Thanks, can you speak a little louder?
I was actually what you just said was actually a true fact, that most of the people they did want to quote unquote get tested, they really did just want them to be tested so they wouldn't be passing it on to other people, because the virus, especially at that time, it was still fairly new, and they still hadn't came up with enough. They didn't have the advancements yet where they had this, the pit. Like nowadays, you got like you got a lot of pills out there actually nowadays that make it where your stuff is going to be quote unquote undetectable. Meaning
non-passable things like that. Yeah.
In a way you don't have it, quote unquote.
And what's terrible too is the stigma that comes behind the name. You know what I mean? When you say AIDS, there's a stigma behind it. But what if you actually say it's just an acronym. When you actually say what the actual disease is, it's like, autoimmune something disease because it's something like attacking your system, people don't know the difference, and it's awful because of what happened in the 80s and Reagan and like the presidency like making AIDS to be a bigger issue of just it's only affecting these men, not affecting everyone. I think that's a terrible thing because now due to the 80s there was a huge stigma around it until Magic Johnson, until other people were like, this happened to me. And
yeah, when the doctor was telling Stan's wife, like, you don't need to test for that, you don't have it. I'm just like, wait a minute, what?
Right. He was like, that's impossible.
And they probably could have actually stopped the spread even more if they knew women can get it. Like, test every single person.
Everybody can, exactly.
Right.
So, that was crazy. But yeah, I definitely I understand. That was definitely a hard thing. I was definitely like bawling, crying because it's sad. And then like the way the hospital was kept up, you know.
That made me.
Oh my God!
Them, you know what I'm saying?
That
trash everywhere. I would not have been tested either if I felt like
nurse
I ended up there,
not bringing the food in.
Oh my gosh, that really
fired.
It was horrible. It was
terrible.
Single time he walked into that, it literally looked like a prison cell or something. Like, I'm like, what is this? Like a homeless shelter or something at first? Like, I didn't know what it was. Like, it was crazy. So, I mean,
it goes along with them not knowing how it spread. Like, they literally had no idea.
That's how we treat our sick. And that's actually the pretty scary part is that we don't know what it is. And I think in later seasons, they kind of talk about the burial a little bit. So when you guys see that, it's going to definitely hurt your heart because the way they decide to like people burying the way they bury people who are sick because they don't know how it spreads is, they don't care for the body like they should. And it actually kind of happened during the pandemic is that a lot of people had to be cremated because people weren't sure once again. So which is why suddenly there was a lot of burials as we started opening back up again. So I think it really hit home for me to see how our sick are treated and how it seemed like Pray Tell was the only one going to go see him. He was the only one saying, y'all need to do something about this. This isn't fair. Like, why is Costas's food sitting outside? Like, you couldn't even bring it in. You were just that terrified, or you're just that terrible.
And how long has it been out here? Like, it's cold.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, that's like especially for a man that can't get up and do it for himself. Exactly. You know what I mean? And the same thing happened to the professor's person as well. Yeah, her student. Like, you saw how dirty his robe was, like when he was dancing and stuff like that. And it was like, wow. Like, and he's like, what was I even doing up? No one even did a round to check and make sure that everybody was where they were supposed to be. And that's terrible. Like, no one deserves that kind of treatment in such a painful time of their life.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It was absolutely awful.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, I think it's like 4:50, 4:45-ish. All right. So any other discussions on Pose real quick before we
I think we hit it all.
We can.
I'm about to start it tonight.
Yes,
me too. Yes.
Again, we watched Pose. We only watched the first season, but there are 3 current seasons out. They are on Netflix, Hulu, and FX. We recommend it as a whole to watch it because watch it, I definitely going home to
educate yourself. Do it.
But it's an amazing show all around. It's like you said, it enlightens you on a lot of stuff, and it's fun.
And actually, the 3rd season is the final season. Has concluded.
Yes.
I feel like I always get late to shows when they're like canceled. Like, what is?
At least you can binge it properly. Now you can watch it all in one go.
I don't want to binge watch it because it's not ever going to come back. So now I want to be spacing my episodes out of Pose. Be watching one every week, like when it came on.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so Juneteenth, Atlanta.
Yes, Juneteenth. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Yes.
Right. It's now a federal holiday. So, kudos.
Okay, but the states still have to adopt it. So if your state doesn't adopt it, then
well, still celebrate Juneteenth. We are free. All right.
I was gonna say the minute you get off, we're celebrating. So
if not requested off, there you go.
Right.
So let's start with the whole celebration in general. I watched Atlanta prior to this.
I did too.
So the first question I have, because we've seen plenty of Juneteenth episodes, is how did y'all feel about the atmosphere, like, of the house, this party with all these elegant, high class?
I felt like Get Out.
Coonery and pandering. That's
felt like Get Out.
Literally, yeah. It was like
I don't belong. y'all don't want me here. I'm ready to go.
And I would have turned around as soon as we walked in.
The men on the stairs singing.
Okay, so the names of the drinks, right? Master's Poison, and I mean he couldn't get it. He just couldn't get a vodka and a cranberry. That's all.
I can't serve you the name. What? What are you saying to me?
So let's just start with the way the celebration looked in general, as you said, pandering and I think let's just start off with the conversations that were had. How do you guys feel? What was the conversation that really sent you like absolutely not? What was the thing that really just put you over the edge?
All of the conversations. They were all just like so.
I was just angry. Like why are we here? Go home. Like,
why? When you asked him if he went back to, if he's been to Africa, and then proceeded to be like, "That's your motherland," though, I was like, "Sir."
I think what got me was he sitting there. Where are you? The South of Africa, this one, dog.
And then when we later find out that he told her 95, when he told her 95-year-old grandmother she was making collard greens wrong, like I honestly, every character, I really liked the way Ern handled it. I think that Ern did a really good job until the very end when he was like, you know what, this is whack. Like, and I think he really did a good job up until they said something about his cousin. And I really could appreciate the things that Ern was saying, because he honestly, like, and also I really wasn't a fan of the woman, aunt, whatever her name was, pretty much selling out. Like, she clearly didn't care for her husband at all, but she was just like, he's funding my life, so I'm gonna secure the bag and keep going. Like, and I was just like, why do you continue to let this man be a culture vulture? I think it's fine it's nice to like a community. It's great to enjoy and immerse yourself in a culture. But the minute that you decide that you can lecture someone on their own culture and have the audacity to question their culture, you know, and what they do for their culture, I feel like that was just, that was the end of
my husband to say, I voted for Obama. Like, where?
And that's what they love to say that, like, oh yeah, I'm down with black folks. Like, no, you're not.
What do you think you're saying to me right now?
Like that's my uncle or something. Like, okay, what does that matter? I voted for him too. Why are we here? What are we talking about?
And we're still in the same position.
Real conversation, and that's why I like Atlanta, because they really have, like, those are real conversations that you know that we have to deal with. We're like,
absolutely.
Like literally, we're all like.
She had me messed up at the end. I will say, I forgot the lady's name. Very pretty lady. But anyway, at the end when she's sitting there like, oh, you manage rap?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's not bad, managing rap.
Yeah, like she was sort of trying to like just make everything sort of better. I honestly, there couldn't be a better satire on those type of people, especially the pastor. Like, check it out. You know, Ern's girlfriend at the same, like, still talk, like, but not even paying attention to his
girl
life.
just looking.
And he was like, and what's your name again? Like, she, like, he didn't even, like, I think there's something to be said about how many people were just made fun of. Like, especially when he saw the guy, like, is that a Red Bull? He was like, yeah, where you get that from? The bar? The guy's looking at him like, it's from the bar. He like, man, what? He couldn't even get a vodka.
I'm wrong. When they was in that that little pantry, whatever that thing was, when he was seeing that picture that the man
explained. The study?
Yeah, the study.
Yeah.
When he was like, I unless I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but wasn't he just basically trying to insinuate, because when he said, I'm in the music, and then he was like, the business part, he's like, the business side of music.
Yes.
I'm like, so basically you was trying to say, oh, I thought you were a rapper.
Yes.
A bad one at that.
Yes.
Like, honestly, the undertones of shade, I actually very much enjoyed the underhanded compliments, I mean, because there's something about backhanded compliments that I feel like spread like wildfire.
Yes, they do.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about when you meet new family members or old family members and they go, oh, you do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And like, but you can hear it. You know, like, I think that was the thing. I was like,
what do you do? So
right
all day? Okay.
Exactly.
Like, that whole episode, she was getting so drunk too. She just couldn't
What
clearly
else could you do? What else could
put
you do?
up with anything. I loved at the end he had just completely had it when he was like, you know what, this is whack. This is whack. You're whack.
That's weird.
Yeah, but
That's weird.
It was how angry he was about how likable he was. He's like, and why do you have to be so likable? Like, why can't you just be a jerk? Like, why are you also such a likable human being? And that's what I loved about, Ern's character through all of Atlanta is kind of just like it's 7 a.m. Like every time he's upset, it's like it's 7 a.m. Like, why am I being put through this? I love
to be slick in that one when they met the little 3 girls and they was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Nothing."
Yeah,
everything.
That's what it's the look on his girlfriend's face when he says that nothing, and she just like goes like, "Wait."
She said, "You are so mean." I'm like, "What? What did he do?"
Yes, honestly, if you guys haven't watched Atlanta, honestly, it's worth a look. It makes me think of the Boondocks come to life because it's a satirical look at our community, and I love the Boondocks too. So
who doesn't?
I love a good.
Atlanta was a great show, though. Is there more seasons coming? Or
we don't know. It's supposed to be, but it's
I heard
like
that.
2 years, 3 years
Yeah.
before, after the.
If you actually like,
Atlanta, no. Now, it has been talked about it's supposed to come back, but yeah, after like the second year, it's like the second or third year for real. And I'm like,
I think he stopped to work on his music a little bit.
Dropped the album last year, right?
Yes, now he did. Now I can't commend that he did have a lot of other projects, but it's like, brother,
maybe at the end of
we need some more Atlanta. We need some more.
How dare you drop this amazing show and then go do your own stuff? Who told you to do that?
Who told you to do that?
Like honestly,
make your own show. It'd be awesome. Give us 2 seasons and then walk away.
In the study, there's a picture of his album cover. Did you notice that in the background?
Yes.
For like Stay Woke. Like like I thought that was so funny. I never noticed it before, and then I like looked at it and I was like, of course, in the back of my mind, Stay Woke starts playing as he's leaving the place, and I was like, thank you, Childish Gambino. I needed that.
Yes, but Atlanta,
great job.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
great job.
Good to watch. So yes, those were our June.
Yep.
Those were our June shows. As always, we appreciate you tuning in with the East Cleveland Public Watch Club. Next month, I'm not sure exactly what they'll be doing, but
let's do the Upshaws.
On that. The Upshaws.
If you haven't watched it, oh my gosh,
it's hilarious, and they're getting season 2. I accidentally binged it in one night. Like that was not. I looked up and it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, oh no.
Binge watched the whole thing, and they got signed for season 2. It's so good.
Yes,
so we'll let you guys know if we decide to do that or not.
Yes.
Okay. Go watch it anyway. All black cast.
That's what I'm saying. Just watch it.
Funny. Just Wanda Sykes. Like Lady
It is Wanda Sykes' show, but everyone keeps saying it's Mike.
I have heard good things about it.
Yes, amazing. You guys are all gonna love it. Yes.
Yes. Well, like I said, as always, thank you for joining us, and tune in next time. We will see you soon. Adios. Goodbye.